to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Shabbat Shalom. Traditionally, the Rebbe would give 2 drashot a year, one on Shabbat Shirah and one on Shabbat HaGadol. Today I have that honor. And friends, it's very special to me that every year I've given that honor to give the sermon on this special musical Shabbat, Shabbat Shirah, the Sabbath of song. This year, I've chosen to honor the memory of Debbie Friedman on her 10th Yahrtzeit. Debbie was born in Utica, New York in 1951, and she moved there with her family to St. Paul, Minnesota when she was 6 years old. Even though her family were members of a Reform temple, Debbie and her 2 older sisters were sent to a conservative Hebrew day school. After high school, she lived in Israel for 6 months and then lived and taught in a number of cities before moving to California to be near her family. Debbie started putting prayers to music during her teen years while working at summer camps. Today, many of her songs, like those written by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, are sung by people who have no idea who composed them, but who came back to them time and again for their beauty and depth. Debbie's music, at once joyful, uplifting, soulful, modern, elegantly simple, and deeply anchored in Jewish tradition. This is the singular combination of qualities that makes Debbie Friedman's songs so singularly beloved, and which have earned her a cadre of Hasidim, devoted fans for her music, which is a central part of their spiritual practice. In her nearly 35 years of composing, Debbie has forever changed American Jewish prayer and song, with her music now part of the prayer tradition at many synagogues and camps. What really sets her apart from the dozens of other singer-songwriters around today is her gift for writing music that is at once deeply authentic and also quickly sears itself on the listener's heart. Most of it is rooted in our sacred texts, but composed in a way that is easily learned and enjoyed by people, even if they've never before read the particular psalm or biblical passage on which the song is based. The lyrics often combine Hebrew and English and are set to exquisite harmonies. Quote, "No one, really no one, rivals Debbie Friedman in providing contemporary Jewish spirituality with music that gives worshipers their voice," unquote, said Rabbi Lawrence Hoffman, a professor at the Reform Movement's Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in New York. He goes on to say, "Here is a musical genius wed to Jewish authenticity and a keen sense for what today's men and women seek, both artistically and religiously in the 21st century." You know, it's hard to believe that Debbie Friedman's musical inspiration, her journey, was cut short at the age of 59, just 10 years ago, yet a long 10 years ago. If you don't know her name, chances are you've heard her music. My own children learned the aleph bet singing her aleph bet song. While we're here in Hebrew school, we're going to have some fun and sing the Hebrew alphabet, a song for everyone. It's going to be quite simple, 'cause all you have to do is sing the letters after me, then I'll sing after you. Aleph, bet, bet, aleph, bet, bet, gimel, dalet, hey, gimel, dalet, hey, vav, zayin, chet, tet, vav, zayin, chet, tet, yud, kaf, chaf, lamed, mehem, nun, samech, ayin, pei, fei, tzadik, kufrei, shin, sin, taf. Every letter has a name, and the sound it always makes. Together they're the alphabet, the aleph, bet. My musical and cantorial journey started from my father, who was a Hazzan with a dramatic tenor voice. He was a Hazzan from the old country, Lithuania, and yet was trained in what was then Palestine or Israel today. Most of the Jewish music I was exposed to growing up was cantorial and Hasidic. The Hasidic influence came from the Hasidic Song Festival out of Israel in the 70s, and then the American influence was Shlomo Carlebach. My father called him the Hasidische folk singer. In 1983, 38 years ago, I was 24 years old. I know it's hard to believe. But I was just starting my professional cantorial career, and I had an experience that took my own Jewish musical journey in a direction in which I would never look back. I've had only a few major musical aha moments in my career. This was the first. The event took place at Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, at the original Cage Conference. At the time, that was known as the Coalition for Alternatives in Jewish Education. My musical epiphany was when I was exposed to what is now called American Nusach. It was a game changer. At that Cage Conference, I was fortunate enough to be included in a late night jam session with the likes of Debbie Friedman, Jeff Klepper, Danny Freelander, and Craig Taubman. These trailblazing and innovative musicians paved the way for a new American Jewish voice. But the truth is, Debbie Friedman's music was one of the first to pave the way in making the melody of Jewish prayer accessible to everyone. Debbie used music to express her Judaism. She translated and transformed prayers, Torah, Talmud, and other scholarly texts, ancient and contemporary. She brought words of lesser-known liturgical pieces, Torah portions, and psalms into our everyday vernacular. Debbie's music weaves the message of one's obligation to the community and its individuals, finding the parallel between the texts and the world as she experienced it. While today the Reform movement is more traditionally oriented than it was when Debbie started out, she was responsible for integrating some of Judaism's traditional elements back into it. Although Debbie's music is primarily heard in Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionist, and Renewal liturgy, Blue Greenberg, the Orthodox feminist leader, was quoted in the Jewish Week on January 14th of 2011 as saying, "Debbie had a large impact in modern Orthodox shuls, women's tefillah, and the Orthodox feminist circles. She was a religious bard and angel of the entire community." Now, you heard the settings of Micha Mocha and Vishamru in Shaarey, which I did, as well as her most famous composition of Mishaberach in our Torah service today. The setting of the Mishaberach was the spark that ignited the Jewish healing service movement in this country. In addition to Mishaberach, Debbie's Angel's Blessing is often included in these special services. The text Debbie wrote for the Angel's Blessing is based on the text of prayers said before retiring to rest at night. May our right hand bring us closer to our godliness. May our left hand give us strength to face each day. And before us may our vision light our paths ahead. And behind us may well-being be our way. All around us is Shekhinah. 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 Michael, umismoli Gabriel, umilefanav לפניי, אוריאל ומאחריי רפאל, ועל ראשי שכינה, ועל ראשי שכינה, ועל ראשי שכינה, ועל ראשי שכינה. 20 years ago, I was asked to officiate with Debbie at a congregant's wedding. I was excited because we were to sing a duet for her wedding vows for the couple. In addition, she promised she would write a new song for them to circle each other before entering the chuppah. Friday morning of the wedding weekend, Debbie called me, frantically saying she had made a huge faux pas and was double booked for a major concert the same day of the wedding. She asked me to help out and said, listen, I didn't finish the song that I composed. This is how it starts. And she sang it to me over the phone. I asked her to send me the music, and she said, David, you know I don't read or write music. As she sang, I made notes that looked like chicken scratches on a piece of paper. It was a fast phone call, and she said, got it? Just finish it. Gotta go. Since I knew Debbie's style, I was able to finish it. It's a long story, but I smile when I think about that phone call. The song that I finished writing for her, called Zedek, This Is My Beloved. Since then, it became one of my favorite songs to sing at weddings. I sang at my own son's wedding 5 years ago. The last time I sang this was 1 year ago in February 2020, right before the pandemic. Turns out that was the last live concert at Shaarey Zedek it was a Jewish wedding music concert, and I was accompanied by a fabulous string quartet from the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Here it is. Zedek, Zedek, this is my beloved, my friend, Zedek, Zedek, this is my beloved, my friend. Zedodi, Vedodi, I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. Zedodi, Zedek, this is my beloved, my friend. Zedodi, Zedek, this is my beloved, my friend. Celebrating women and filling in the white lines in between the black letters of living Torah, where women's voices and experiences are absent from our traditional texts, spurred Debbie to write many of her best-loved songs. She is the first female composer to contribute significantly to popular Jewish liturgy. Perhaps her best-known song featuring women is Miriam's song. She was passionate about giving women an equal voice in Jewish life and liturgy, especially poignant for today, being Shabbat Shirah. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every strand and every thread, she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song, Sing a song to the one who we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the old night long. When Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea, the wonder of the miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women dance and dance the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We just through the miracle, going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang a song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. Debbie Friedman raised a younger generation of composers and cantors deeply influenced by her life and work. Her spirit abides not only in the cantorial school that bears her name, but in the fruits of her special gifts which continue to bless us. Perhaps the best way to honor Debbie's memory is to internalize the lyric from her song, "And the youth shall see visions." We must live for today. We must build for tomorrow. Give us time, give us strength, give us life. In closing, Debbie Friedman's legacy is epitomized in the opening Psalm 96, which we recite every Friday night in Kabbalat Shabbat, "Sing unto the Lord a new song." Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said, "The history of the Jewish spirit is written in its songs. The words do not change, but each generation needs its own melodies." Our generation needs new songs so that we too can sing joyously to God, as our ancestors did at that moment of transfiguration when they crossed the Red Sea and emerged the other side free at last. When the soul sings, the spirit soars. Let us all strive to emulate these words and to remember the incredible gift Debbie Friedman was and continues to be for all of us. Shabbat Shalom.